What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you may happen to be. All right, so I found a report today from payments.com. This is in conjunction with Circle. Many of you may know how big Circle is within the blockchain industry. And this is essentially just this cryptocurrency, blockchain, and cross-border payments document that is going over usage currently. And I look at something like this, and especially given the regulatory lack of clarity that we have, this just for me, whenever you're dealing in an asset like XRP that we know just has so much more utility, speed, and from the use case, it's just much cheaper to use than an asset like Bitcoin or anything else. This to me, all of these numbers, all of these percentages are literally drops in a single bucket that is floating on an ocean of trapped liquidity. And right now we see cryptocurrency across borders. More than half of cross-border firms report using at least one form of cryptocurrency. And we can get into the numbers here. And, XRP, 15.6% cryptocurrency use among multinational firms right now. Would like to use it 18.4%. We're already seeing like 31% Bitcoin. Stablecoins, I think, don't necessarily go down. They're certainly going to have their use case, but then you're going to deal in these low liquidity corridors that are going to need to use something else maybe besides just a stablecoin. I don't think the interoperability will 100% be there between certain nations. And I think that the low liquidity in some of these nascent assets to some of these exotic corridors are going to need something to bridge it with that has much higher liquidity and much more trust. All right, so we see Bitcoin 9.2%, 16.4% would like to use it. 56% share of cross-border businesses that use at least one blockchain network. Cryptocurrency usage among cross-border businesses. Share of business by cryptocurrency and annual revenue. What's interesting to me is that you see all these annual revenue companies between 100 and 250 million, basically Bitcoins and stablecoins. 250 to a billion. You see Bitcoin, stablecoins are usurping Bitcoin, and XRP is down below even Ethereum. And then you get to $1 billion plus, and the numbers start to get a little bit closer. So 46% still for Bitcoin, obviously. Right now it has the most liquidity. It's still kind of ruling the market. And then you get down to XRP, which is almost hand in hand with Ethereum, 32.2% and 36.8% for Ethereum. These numbers just go to show me that, especially when we go to the earlier ones here, cryptocurrencies to which, or this is the last one, cryptocurrencies to which financial institutions provide access to. These numbers are all going to get into this 60, 70, 80% range, 100% range. At some point, every single financial institution, big, small, and in between, is going to be using digital assets. It's only a matter of time. So what's crazy about this, financial institutions right now from this document is literally showing that 0.0% of financial institutions are utilizing, or these FIs, these financial institutions are providing access into XRP. 0.0%. 10% support at least one. 6% Bitcoin, 4% stablecoins, 4% Bitcoin Cash, 4% Ether, 4% alternative coins. 90% of these institutions don't even provide any access. 0% for XRP. When we start to see the use case of XRP, and when XRP is given regulatory clarity, because it will be given regulatory clarity, make no mistake about it, this number goes up because the actual utility of XRP, when in comparison to Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum especially, stablecoins are certainly going to have their role to play, in my opinion. But the utility of XRP to bridge some of these exotic corridors, certain situations, certain functionality and programmability, it's going to be insane. So I'm just waiting for this because these numbers are just completely stupid right now. All right, I want to move forward. And I wanted to get into a couple of really, really big assets, not financial advice, that I believe are really going to shake the market up. I don't know if it's going to be this cycle or next cycle. First and foremost, Alliance Block released their decentralized exchange white paper. Now, DEX Week, from what they're calling it, is the 22nd to the 26th of November. So I'm assuming that is going to be the launch date for Alliance Block's decentralized exchange, which is absolutely Amazing. Brand new AMM, which is an automated market maker, which vastly reduces impermanent loss. Even when you deal with something like Uniswap and you're doing this liquidity pooling, everything else, people don't understand that if one asset goes up in value and the other one remains the same, you might be dealing in impermanent loss if you're staking both of those at the same time into a pool, as well as just fees across the board. Decentralized exchange is ready for deployment. All right, but this is kind of in tandem with this, and I saw this yesterday. I didn't see anybody post about this. I know I posted it to Patreon yesterday. This is Elon Musk's Dogecoin-funded SpaceX mission is set to reach the moon early next year with a satellite created by blockchain companies. This isn't companies. This is one company, and this is Unizen. Unizen, a smart exchange ecosystem, and ZCX, a decentralized finance incubator, which is another Unizen product, will build the Doge 1 CubeSat, a miniature satellite that obtains information from space using cameras, sensors, and mirrors that will be launched into a lunar orbit, according to a report by Cointelegraph. So obviously vet that out. The CubeSat will be deployed thanks to a launch agreement with Musk's SpaceX, Falcon X, and thanks to the underpinning of blockchain technology will provide a new use case for crypto, the report said. Absolutely insane. I posted about Unizen, I don't even remember, probably 4 or 5 months ago whenever it first launched. $5.61 now. I know when it launched it was, $3, dipped all the way down. I think it dipped below $1 at one point. Or maybe it never did. I think I may have been waiting for that below $1 dip that just never came. But Unizen is a monster. And, this is ZenX Incubator by Unizen, obviously. And what's interesting to me, though, is who Unizen is surrounding themselves with. So, strategic advisor is Rashida Jaja of Alliance Block. I know very much so that I have a suspicion that Alliance Block is tied in directly into Unizen. We do know that they're partners as well. And I'm curious to see what use cases come out, because not only is Alliance Block partnered with Unizen, but Gilbert Verdian from Quant is also an advisor. We know that Quant is an Alliance Block partner. I think one of the first Alliance Block partners. And you tie all those things in together with, the name, even Elon Musk, and what they're doing with Falcon X and everything. Really curious to see where this goes. A couple of things, last but not least. This was a banking panel. I actually saw Matthew Liny post about this as well yesterday. I had found this, just didn't have time to make a video yesterday, just too much stuff going on. CBDCs will likely become legal tender. Well, obviously, central bank digital currencies will likely become legal tender in their home countries, officials from 2 European central banks said on Tuesday. So the ECB board member Fabio Panetta and Russian central bank governor. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Access, because they're just a cool platform. They have a lot of really big names that are kind of surrounding themselves with what's going to be built on Metaverse and Hedera Hashgraph. And I believe that it's a smaller team, but they've delivered throughout the entire process so far, in my opinion. I'm just excited to see where they go. And their white paper actually is dropping as an NFT, I believe, probably right now, ongoing. So I'm excited to take a read through that. These newer ones are so much high risk. Like, if you're buying something before a white paper, you better damn well be sure that you're trying to do your research, that you're expecting very much so that if you're investing in these things, that your money could 1,000% go to zero. But getting into these ecosystems that have a ton more utility, like Hedera, you get into the XRPL. Obviously, we're seeing all these projects launching on XRPL as NFTs, and there's no NFT functionality right now, but it's just the idea and it's the innovation behind it. Flare is going to be gigantic, and obviously everything at the Canary Network stage and the testnet through Songbird is going to be amazing. So metaverses and stuff like that, whenever I get into these things, I literally am just willing to buy them, and I probably won't sell them even during this cycle. Or another thing that I do, and again, this is not financial advice, is I try to buy a duplicate of everything. That way, if prices go up, I can offload some, and then I'm still in the party. Hopefully that we will all have whenever Metaverse really shakes out, which I believe is going to be probably during the next market cycle. But yeah, pay attention to Access if you don't follow them. Last but not least, I wanted to give a shout out. This is another Hedera Hashgraph project, Lazy Superheroes. And, a lot of people underestimate, what's going on with these NFTs. And they're like, oh, it's just a stupid piece of artwork. Art plays a portion of this, certainly. And great artwork plays a portion to some point in some of these ecosystems, certainly. But when you look at a project like Lazy Superheroes, the artwork's interesting. Yeah, it's cool. Like, some people were going to like it, some people were going to absolutely hate it. I fell somewhere in between with the actual artwork itself, but I read the background of what this project was planning to do, which is why I attempted to and successfully got into this project very early. They did a mint of 100 NFTs. Now, each NFT is given just a ton of reciprocal value. I did a video about them like maybe 3 or 4 days ago. Each of those 100 NFTs that they started with was selling for, I think, 2,000 HBAR. At that point in time, I think it was around $600. And the last one, at least the one yesterday or the day before that I saw sold for 73 or 74,000 HBAR, which is sounds like complete insanity, right? But if you look at these projects as not necessarily just a static piece of art, and whatever you think of the art, you think of the art, but what it potentially means within an ecosystem. Maybe it's a key for something. Maybe it gives you access to things early. There's so many value propositions in this space right now. And there's a lot of creators that always ask me, what do I think about NFTs? What do I think about metaverse? I think it's the ones that really create reciprocal value in and of themselves by holding that are going to do really well. I wanted to give them a shout out though. I did this auction. My daughter did her first ever piece of art to showcase mental health and mental health awareness, which she has been going through for probably the past year and a half. And, I look at creativity as a mental outlet where, there are much worse things you could be doing. I've gotten comments on this artwork saying it's dark, or that's pretty dark. You should make sure you're watching out for your daughter. Like, obviously I am doing that. She's been in therapy, everything else. Not only am I watching out for her, but I'm trying to turn a negative into a positive via empowerment. Something like this, where she's expressing emotion in a way that may resonate with other people and help other people. But anyways, I don't want to drag on about that. We're going to figure out about how to move forward with this, because I think that there's really great value propositions that I may be able to help her out with, and maybe give some back to charity for mental health awareness as well, through additional drops, etc. But yeah, crazy. I mean, I listed this at literally, it started at 0. The bid was probably 0.1 or 1 HBAR. This ended up selling for 5,060 HBAR, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, what I would suggest to anybody trying to create in this space and trying to empower either themselves via an idea that they have, or empower maybe their children do artwork, or maybe their children do music, or maybe their children write poetry, or whatever it may be, or they have family members to outreach or to reach out to, is to really get involved in these communities and just literally just ask, DM people, get in discords and ask for help. Because what I've seen, at least in Hedera Hashgraph's community, is that every project supports every other project, which is crazy. And I put out a tweet the other day about the XRPL and these projects, saying a lot of them don't seem like they're building on utility. What I would say is that I'm probably wrong about that, because I underestimated the meme coin aspect, with Doge and Sheeb and all those coins. So yeah, don't believe anything that anybody says on any of these social media platforms, even me. I'm just making my own assumptions, and I am involved with the XRPL Punks one and a couple others, and I'm starting to reach out to some of these XRPL projects, because I realize that's a bullshit statement for me to say. If I'm not sitting there talking and I'm not really doing the outreach with every one of these projects, how can I make that statement? So apologies to all the XRPL projects. It was just kind of one of those things where I like seeing like utility upon utility and not just speculative price action, but both play a role. And, I'm certainly excited. I think that I've got a discussion with XRPL guys. I've got one with the Junkies one. I've got a couple of other ones lined up as well. The X-Alien one, they did a really cool piece of artwork. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I recommend you maybe look into Alliance Block, look into Unizen. I'm sure many of you have looked into Quant already. And just remember from that payments document that I went over first here, those numbers all get to very much so close to the 70, 80, 90% range. And it happens sooner rather than later. And the amount of trapped liquidity out there is going to get freed up. What's going to do it? The assets that have the best utility, in my opinion, and the ones that are programmable and able to function and interoperate with the current system. And what company is built within the current system? Ripple has. And what asset functions with pure utility? I don't think I even need to dictate that answer. Later.